Chris Franciosa, founding principal agent at Compass Real Estate, and the principal agent of the Atlas team, and we are representing the property at 140 Northeast 5th on the listing side.
Sandy Fondre, Interiors by Stephen G, designer.
Stephen G, interior designer, owner of Interiors by Stephen G.
Scott Brennan with Brennan Estate Homes, the developer of 140 Northeast 5th Avenue.
Mitch Koenig, president of Affinity Architects, and we're the architects for the project.
Well, Mitch and I go way back. We've been working together for at least 15 years or so. I'm a structural engineer, and I've worked with Mitch on many projects, and I knew that when I saw this lot and the uniqueness of the lot, based on work I've seen him do and his creations, I knew that this was the right project for him to do. He knocked this out of the park. When you see the plan, you just walk through the house, the design is unbelievable. As far as Mr. Stephen G, he's new to me, but he was brought to me by Chris. And once I met with him and talked about what he was going to produce for the home, and also researched his reputation and the things that he's done. Again, he was just an addition to the A team that we have. He would just not just be part of it, but add to it. The project is an 8,000 square foot single family home. It's a contemporary design, and again, it blows everything out of the water in Boca Raton. It's something new and unique. It's different from anything else you're going to see. It's right in town on the Intercoastal Waterway. No fixed bridges. It is the location in Boca that's not in a community or any sort of subdivision or anything like that.
It was definitely refreshing, to say the least. When I got to the project for the first time and I walked through, I actually said, if I was looking to live in Boca Raton, I would buy the house in a heartbeat. That was my exact words. I think Mitch's vision of what he has delivered to the site is world class, is totally different than what I would call the norm that you see in contemporary to modern homes in Boca. It was definitely a vision that when I walked through, I said, wow. So definitively, I was excited to be selected as part of the project because we like to be unique with our interior design work, so we thought it would be a great fit.
I really wanted to be a yacht designer. So here we go. At least we can design architecture on the intercoastal or on the ocean. So it fits hand in hand. And that's sort of why we sort of chose the theme for this, is a little more than a regular type of architecture in Boca Raton or South Florida. You know, tie in with the beach, tie in with the boats, tie in with the nautical theme. So we're blending all of that within the architecture as well as the interiors that we just saw today. And, you know, with the marketing team and everything else is totally on board with that whole vibe. So we're going to go down that road and make it feel that way.
I had a private equity firm and started off buying mortgage notes, and then when the mortgage market collapsed, I decided to segue back into top tier brokerages until we started the agency in South Florida, and then from there we've now landed at Compass, and our team is comprised of about 45 agents right now, all of different disciplines, different backgrounds, so we think we bring a lot to a seller and to a project, as we have people from all walks of life, speak 6 different languages, and we're able to tap into everybody's different resources. So getting into projects like this is super exciting. This is a trophy property in Boca Raton, and we can't wait to see the finished product with Steve and Mitch and Scott's brains together. Watching this come to fruition is going to be fun.
Well, I think they're going to be complementary. They're not going to be identical by any stretch of the imagination. And it's to be determined based upon how the lot sales or the end users create the situation. We do custom homes all day long, so we're used to having pieces and parts from what they see at what's built that can be used on other lots, and then pieces that may not be there that have been done elsewhere that could still be done on those lots. So the whole idea was to show within that footprint of that house what could be done with a 40-foot wide view of total wide open glass straight out with 3 rooms in a row looking out to the intercoastal.
I think the beauty here is that we all learn a lot from the buyer and the people that look. And the best way that I could relate to this is that you never know when a buyer comes along and says, although I love that room that opens up with the fireplace and I could sit indoors and outdoors and have the whole feel, somebody else might come along and say, Mitch, I love it the way it is, but I won't use this as an open air room. So we learn every day from the buyer. We will hear the comments that we'll hear from the design end of it. Chris will certainly hear from both ends of it. And the feedback that we will continue to get is going to drive what I call the bus on house number 2. We might sell this because it is that different. It is that wow factor. It is that quiet. It's set back. It has all of the ingredients for a part-time residence, a full-time residence, or 50-50, if you would call it that. So I believe it's a wide open palette that Mitch will adjust, and we can adjust as we move along into house 2. I started designing boats with Mitch about 36 or 38 years ago, if I'm not incorrect. Mitch and I go way back. I remember pulling into Ocean Reef and seeing Mitch running around with his twin boys, if I'm not mistaken. And my little girl was, about the same size. And I'm going to say that I wish I collaborated on more work with Mitch, and I hope this is the beginning of collaborating on more work. But the boats we designed sold like hotcakes. We really didn't need this business. We sold boat after boat. I mean, we were famous in the boat world. At the end of the day, I'm just teasing, but Mitch and I have a lot in common, and we've had for many, many, many years, and truly honored that he's here today with us.
We're currently working on a house with you in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes,
so
we are.
We are.
Well, Sandy is somebody that has been here many, many, many years, and she is somebody that relates to what ownership and architect wants and desires, and she puts her twist on it that will help this be a win-win. And she visited the site, and her comments that she had made when she came back were so in line with how I felt when I saw this. And for those who haven't seen this, you're making a big mistake, because you'll learn, you'll see a vision that you don't see on every street. And from the minute you drive up to Mitch's creation, you just understand immediately, oh my God, this is so different.
Well, the most amazing feature is the span of glass and the way the glass opens up, and the views and the air, and the way the progression of the rooms. So you get to the most amazing room out at the end, and then looking back, you've got the span of glass, and you've got the amazing circle in the roof. That's a very strong feature from the waterway. And the materials are very natural, very linen, earthy, stone.
Organic.
Organic. The silver travertine is beautiful. It's a beautiful mix of silver travertine and wood. It's a very, very warm, friendly, easy house.
You'd never tire,
Yeah.
which is an interesting thing. We use the expression design, great design has to have great legs. It's no different in great architecture. It has to have great legs where you look back 5 or 10 years from now, you're not saying to yourself, boy, did I buy an antiquated home. You're going to look back at this and go, oh my God, I love it like the day I bought it, and I wouldn't change a thing. And that's the true success of great architecture.
I think they could be either at this point because of the
100%.
timeless nature, but I think we in Florida are the beneficiaries of some tax reform that's going to drive some legs from both the West Coast and the Northeast, namely California, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and also Canada. So Toronto is a major market that's coming down here. But at the end of the day, what this is this is a lifestyle. So you're selling a lifestyle. Mitch has designed a home situated on a site which capitalizes on the South Florida lifestyle. And I think a lot of people are going to have more eyes on Boca Raton because of this house. This is a very LA-centric design in Boca Raton, and Boca has, people are educated, some aren't. Boca is still and can be hip. And Mitch has designed a property, and with Steven's flair and Sandy's assistance, I think they're going to make my job relatively easy because we're going to have something very unique.
Well, it was great. It put me in a unique position to work with Mitch to create the vision structurally to make things stay up the way that they need to stay up with the ideas that he wants to do to push certain limits. This being a unique property, unique location, being deep water, downtown, Boca Raton, it had to have a flair to it. And the uniqueness of the lot size, requiring that Mitch put together something that would work for a 40-foot wide product but feel large, we were able to sit and brainstorm and collaborate with trying to make 40-foot sliding glass doors work without a column in between, or sliding glass doors that come together to a corner with no column, so when you open them up, it's completely open, nothing inhibiting your view. So in the beginning, we're tasked with trying to create this great architecture, but it created structural challenges. But the fact that he knew what I could do and I knew what he was trying to do, we worked together. You have to deal with sizes of things to make sure they don't pop through the ceiling. And we knew some of the limits that we could meet. And again, we knocked it out of the park, I would say.
Yes.
I wish I wanted to live in Boca.